Darren's grandmother, Loretta, died alone in her upstairs bedroom. Heart failure, they said. She'd been dead for 2 days before the neighbor noticed her mailbox overflowing and the lights on at all hours. The police broke in and found her upstairs, eyes wide, face twisted in something that looked too intense to be fear. Both police and EMS rushed her body out of the house. Loretta lived in that house her whole life. Never married, never had kids of her own, until Darren. Darren was adopted, and she raised him after his parents died in a car crash when he was 6. He used to talk about her in this half-affectionate, half-fearful tone. "Grandma Loretta's got eyes in the walls," he'd joke. She was a hoarder, a recluse, and deeply superstitious, always warning Darren about things like blood memories and dolls with souls. He always just chalked it up to her old age, and her mind slowly starting to go. The 4 of us met back in middle school. Darren, me, Jess, and Nolan. We weren't the cool kids. We were the ones who read creepypastas out loud during sleepovers, explored old barns for fun, dared each other to play with Ouija boards. That kind of group. We stayed close through high school and even after. Same friend group, same dumb inside jokes, even when life started pulling us in different directions. We were a family. So when Darren asked for help clearing out Loretta's house after the funeral, we all showed up without any hesitation. The place hadn't changed in decades. It reeked of mothballs, old dust, and something sour beneath it all, like dried flowers and spoiled meat. We spent the first 2 days boxing up clothes, books, old photos, and dozens of porcelain figurines. Loretta had shelves of them in every room, most chipped, all creepy. On the 3rd day, Nolan stepped on a weak board in the attic. That's when we found the trunk. When Nolan stepped through a loose floorboard, the wood caved in just enough to reveal the top of a trunk, iron clasps, leather peeling like burnt skin. Inside was one thing. A doll. Wrapped in sackcloth, it was child-sized, dressed in black velvet and tattered lace. Her porcelain face was cracked in a spiderweb pattern, her smile etched a little too wide. She wore a bonnet and her right eye was chipped. But her left one? It blinked. "Tell me you saw that," I whispered, stepping back. Jess swallowed hard. "That thing just moved. I swear it did." Darren, the collector of all things strange, smiled. "It's probably a mechanical doll. You know, from the 1800s or something. These things can fetch serious cash." "Don't take it," Jess pleaded. "Just don't." But Darren had already lifted it out of the trunk. As he held it, something weird happened. I swear I heard something soft. A hum, like singing. Just a breath of melody in the dust-choked air. Sleepy eyes and porcelain skin. Let me come and crawl within. Lace and shadow, stitch and seam. Close your eyes, and let me dream. We stayed another night to help him finish up. That night, I had a dream. I was standing in Loretta's bedroom, and she was there. Her mouth sewn shut, eyes bleeding, pointing at something behind me. When I turned around, I saw the doll, eyes gone, arms twitching as it dragged itself toward me, singing that same twisted lullaby over and over, her cracked mouth moving like broken clockwork. Little arms and tiny toes, crimson bloom where no one goes. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. The doll was sitting on the nightstand next to my mattress. I hadn't put it there. A few days passed without anything extreme. Darren took the doll home, and we all went back to our lives. But we stayed in touch more than usual, checking in, joking about the haunted doll, like it was just another dumb story we'd laugh about later. Then Darren stopped replying. We thought maybe he was just grieving, or overwhelmed with cleaning out the house. Until Jess got worried enough to drive over and check. She found him in his garage. Dead. Neck twisted all the way around like something had spun it until it snapped, and mouth frozen mid-scream. The police said it looked like a freak fall from tripping down the garage steps. But there, on the garage workbench, sat the doll. Its eyes clearer than before, like someone had polished her. Her smile had gotten wider, and I could hear that damn tune again, faint, like it was hiding in the walls. buttons, needles, bones that crack, lay him down and don't look back. After the funeral, Nolan changed. He started acting strange first, paranoid. He stopped going to work, covered all the mirrors in his apartment, said he saw her in them. He said he kept seeing things move in the corners of his room, swore the doll was following him. "It's crawling," he said one night over the phone. "I hear it at night, dragging those ceramic feet. It sings to me, I can't sleep. I hear it crawling. And when I do sleep..." His voice trailed off into a whimper. I thought he was losing it, or maybe just traumatized, until he stopped answering altogether. I found him myself. His front door was locked from the inside. I had to crawl through a window to get in. The place smelled like something had died days before I got there. He was in the hallway closet, folded backwards. His limbs were snapped at unnatural angles, bones piercing through skin. His mouth was stuffed with fabric, black lace. The doll was nestled next to him on the shelf just above his body, feet crossed, hands in her lap. Untouched, clean, smiling. Jess and I left town. We drove for hours until we were out of gas and then walked to the nearest motel. Neither of us talked much. We barely slept. We kept the lights on. But even in the light, I'd sometimes hear it. Her lullaby, playing just at the edge of silence, like the room was humming it. Eyes that blink and lips that bite, I come to play when you turn out the light. We didn't tell the police anything. What could we say? A haunted doll is killing our friends? After about 4 days, Jess said she had to go home. "I can't live out of a suitcase forever," she said. I begged her to wait. Just a little longer. Just long enough to figure out what the hell we were going to do. But she was adamant. She flagged down a passing 18-wheeler, and I watched her drive away, getting smaller and smaller until she was gone. 3 days later, she was dead. She called me on the phone, screaming. No words, just pure terror and raw fear coming through the phone's receiver. I sprinted to her house and I broke down her door. She was in her bed, face pale, mouth open in a scream, eyes missing, just 2 hollow wet sockets like someone had used a spoon and scooped them out. Blood was everywhere. I looked next to her, and there it was. The doll sat on her pillow, staring at me, one cracked eye twitching, head tilted. That was months ago. I've moved 5 times since then. Changed my number. Deleted all social media. I live off the grid now. Remote cabin. No neighbors, no mirrors. And still, on the coldest nights, when the wind howls just right, I hear it outside. Porcelain tapping on the glass. A child's whisper. A lullaby. 4 little souls all marked for me, but one was left, so I could see. Alone and scared, you're almost mine. Hush now, dear. It's lullaby time. I don't think it's over. I think she's waiting for the final verse. At the old inn at Wingates Grove in Westhoughton sat twin girls, Melody and Grace, with wild ginger hair and pajamas made from satin, their parents in the room downstairs already asleep. The house was made of limestone and bricks. Windows were thick and covered by beige curtains to keep out the light. Their room was silent as the girls pondered over their new toy. It was handmade by Grace, as they couldn't afford to buy their own yet. But that didn't stop their belief. The most powerful thing these girls had was imagination. As long as they hoped, they thought they would always get what they were after. They turned off the main light and lit up the candles that their mother bought for emergencies only. If the power went out now, the girls would have some explaining to do. As each candle lit, their excitement grew. Melody and Grace were ready to play. They sat in front of each other with the board in the middle, a small shot glass of their father's placed atop. "How do we start?" Melody whispered, reaching out towards the glass following Grace's lead. "Just repeat after me. Ouija, we are here. Ouija, we can talk. Ouija, join us now." Grace muttered the phrase 3 times while sliding the glass with Melody still touching. Reluctantly, Melody joined in with the chant. She already felt like the air was cold, but a shiver went down her spine as they finished their chant. The windows were closed. They were on the top floor, and their mother wouldn't let them leave it open. Still, the curtain behind Grace twitched, or so Melody thought she saw. It could be her imagination, she thought. So back to the board here Glance went. Ask a question. Grace's voice made Melody jump. What do we ask? Ask if they're here. Why can't you ask? Fine. Ouija, are you here? Grace looked down at the shot glass, awaiting its move. Stillness. Not even Melody trying to trick her. They were taking this seriously. Melody was too scared to joke, and Grace was too determined to talk to something. Anything. From the corner of her eye, Melody saw a candle flicker, the curtain twitch. There has to be a draft, Melody thought. But there couldn't be. Every window and door was locked shut. The candles flickered. Brighter and brighter they grew. Little? Little? What does that mean? Grace mumbled, reading the letters out that the board began spelling. M-A-N. Little man? Melody gasped. The breath she let out in fear blew out the candle next to her. The twins looked around for any other signs. Nothing stood out to them as being different than 2 minutes ago. The wallpaper that usually appeared to be covered in flowers began to look darker. The girls couldn't tell if their eyes were playing tricks on them. Blink. Just blink. And all will be back to normal. Both girls started to blink as fast as they could, as if twin telepathy was real for a moment. Their heads swiveled to look back at the wall, but the flowers were gone entirely. The wall was shiny and black. Oil. Dripping oil. It covered the walls completely. B-L-O-O-D. The board spelled out. That's when the girls screamed and removed their fingers from the shot glass. The little man told them it wasn't oil. The walls were dripping with blood. The room was too dark, and the red looked brown, almost black. The shine was reflected from the remaining candles. D-R-O-W-N-E-D. The glass was moving on its own, stood perfectly upright and sliding across the board. U-P-S-I-D-E-D-O-W-N. It was speeding up, and the girls stood up and backed away towards their door. It slammed behind them. Letting out another scream, Grace and Melody huddled together by the door. A bang came from behind them, causing them to turn around, still embraced in each other's arms. "Open this door now!" their father shouted through the wood that was the banging. He was trying to get in. "We can't, Dad! Please help us!" Melody shouted back. Their father's thuds against the door became more frantic. A bright light overtook the room. The overhead light had turned itself on. The glow became orange, then yellow, then white. Crash. The bulb had smashed and glass flew all around the room. Louder and louder the girls screamed. There was blood on their faces, but they hadn't touched the wall. The glass had cut them. Melody has a gash across her cheek. Grace had a slit through her eyebrow. The girls didn't even flinch at the pain. They moved away from the door as their fathers tried to get in. Were getting faster. They covered their faces with their sleeves as a stench blew through the air. Rotting eggs could be smelt all through the house. The kind of smell that would make even the bin men feel sick. It was almost as bad as burning hair and rotting flesh. It was foul. Not even the fabric of their pyjamas could block it out. Their eyes watered to the point of crying. Their door flew open with their father running and grabbing the girls. "Brenda, outside now!" he shouted back at his wife, urging her to run down the stairs and out of the front door. She had her key in hand and wrestled with the lock to get the family out safely. Wind blew the door wide open as she got the lock open. She ran out, turning to grab one of the girls off her husband. She set off to the closest neighbor's house to find someone to help. Tripping slightly as she ran across the garden, she finally looked down at her feet. There were hundreds of dead crows littering their garden and the street around them. The parents covered Melody and Grace's eyes from the sight, but it was too late. They'd seen everything. The family kept moving towards the neighbors, but Melody and Grace had the eyes trained on what had been their bedroom window. The curtains were open, and 3 shadows could be seen. A little man with a flat cap on, accompanied by the silhouettes of 2 girls with wild hair. Arms reached up in the window, offering a slow wave towards the girls.